So we are with.
Kris Goffin. I work at Maastricht University.
So Kris, explain to me briefly what your research is about.
I work on emotional AI or emotional chatbots. So now we see that there are a lot of chatbots that are becoming more and more empathetic. Like people are using chatbots for emotional support. There are even like therapy bots that can act like your therapist, or companion bots that act like your digital girlfriend. There are obviously ethical issues with these technologies. So I investigate ethical issues that come with our emotional reactions to these chatbots. And I also try to influence policy and regulation.
What's a myth that you think that should be dispelled on this topic?
I think it's a myth that people think that these chatbots would actually have empathy, because it's really easy to trick humans into thinking that something is like a person or a human being or something very similar, and this goes like really easy with these chatbots. But there are like risks that people would become like emotionally dependent on these chatbots. So we need to be aware that they're not really empathetic. They're just really good at tricking us.
What's the thing that you see that people are doing a lot when connecting to these chatbots, and they should start doing or stop doing?
One thing that like really shocked me was that you can recreate like a person with a chatbot. For instance, there are grief bots in which you can recreate a deceased person by uploading, for instance, your WhatsApp history to this chatbot and ask them to act like this deceased person. Or after a breakup, you can upload your chat history with your ex and then continue talking to your ex, or have the chatbot mimic that person. And it's like, I see why people want to do it, but there's so many ethical issues that come with it, issues regarding your well-being. So yeah, I think we need to think about like the ethics of these technologies and how to regulate them.
So in your research, you also mentioned racial bias in these type of technologies. Can you explain to us a little bit more about that?
We see that in these technologies there are all these biases that reflect biases in real life as well. For instance, there are like technologies that are aimed to track dangerous people or people that might be a threat through facial expressions. They might track a person as being angry or anxious and then label them as dangerous. I think that's already like a problematic thing to do. But we see that there might be biases in there that, like for instance, black men are more often seen as aggressive than like white men. And there are also like gender biases, like women are more often seen as like anxious and less confident.
If we go back in time, what would you say was the moment where you felt like you were very interested into this research question?
I used chatbots to talk about my own emotional issues. So I use it as emotional support myself. Well, the philosopher in me was thinking like, is this really the right thing to do? So, and it was like that conflict that made me interested in it to work on it as a philosopher.
How do you think that the YUFE4Postdocs program helped you in developing your research?
One thing that this YUFE4Postdocs program taught me was like how to engage with non-academic stakeholders and policymakers. For instance, I work together with NGO Access Now to have an influence on EU policies regarding AI.
Do you think that also the European connections, the fact that you connect with other researchers, is it a point of strength?
So it's nice that you have like this program in which different European universities are connected, because I feel like in the field of AI ethics, like Europe is taking the lead in thinking about regulations about AI. So I like that about this European connections.